All right, rewind the clocks back to 2015. Late stage in the season, Calgary Stampeders are facing the Hamilton Tiger Cats at home in Hamilton. It's the end of the game. I'm in on defense, all right? I'm tired of shit from doing special teams all game. It's the fourth quarter. There's like 2 minutes left and we're up. We're going to win the game. All right, boom. Off the edge. Feeling good. Pow! Quarterback in my sights. He's rolling out. I'm like, instant sack. Running to chase him down. Full speed. O-lineman. Coming to peel around. I have no idea he's there. And we're close to their bench. So my team can't be like, hey, watch out. So I'm running. Full go. Bam! From the O-lineman. I leave my feet whoosh, up in the air, both of them, and I smack my back against the ground, and immediately I roll, and like from a lunge, I remember my right leg being down, and I stand up and start jogging. Almost like it, never even happened. But then for the rest of the drive, it's like it's hard to breathe. And I'm like, I've been doing a lot of special teams that normally I don't feel this tired, and I've never felt this tired throughout the entirety of any time I played football. So, I remember at the end of the game, I'm talking to one of my former college teammates who's on the Ticats, and he's talking to me, and I'm able to hold a conversation, but then I'm kind of like, kind of like breathing deeply, and I'm seeing white flecks everywhere, and I'm kind of like, yeah, holding the conversation, but kind of trying to rush to the locker room to get out of there, because I'm like, I don't know, something feels weird. And from that point on in my career, I always found a shortness of breath. And I found that I needed like more breaks in between. So like anyone else, I had no idea. I just thought, yeah, I got hit hard. Shit happens, shortness of breath. So then I just thought maybe it's a conditioning issue. So I would just run extra sprints after practice into my training during the season. And then fast forward time to where I retire. And I'm doing some work with my buddy Mike over at Athletics. And he's dealt with a lot of people that have had severe issues, broken bones, all that kind of stuff. So I'm working with him in his machine that's called the Atom machine. And basically it's electric stimulation, extremely powerful. In essence, kind of captures a lightning bolt within the technology and does like you go on certain points and you can tell what damage is there based on how you react to the stimulus. And it turns out I had 2 broken ribs in the front and 2 broken ribs in the back that likely stemmed from that hit, because from that point forward, it was difficult to breathe wearing my shoulder pads while they're pressing on because they got to be tight. So it turns out that I played a year and a half, 2 years and a half with 4 broken ribs and had no idea. Just a random story. So now I'll talk about my back, because my buddy over at Level 8 wanted to know more about sort of what happened to my back, because I had to retrain myself to walk and do a ton of shit during and after my career as well. And he just thought, hey man, you should tell people. And I was like, hey man, all right. So then I'm in college. I think it's in the year 2011. So it's my 3rd year in college, and working out like any regular day. And I'm doing a squat day and a deadlift day. Because at that time I had I got sent the training program that the Alabama, whatever their team is called, Alabama Red Tide or something, Crimson Tide, that they were doing. And growing up as a kid, you see all them on TV and you think, hey, it's from the States, it's NCAA, it's got to be the shit. So it was like a deadlift and squat day. So I get under the squat bar, I think I throw 5 plates on each side, maybe 4, and I'm repping the shit out doing reps of 8. Get underneath the bar, go down to the bottom, feel a pop in my left low back, hip area. I fall, I collapse. Thankfully, there's the calipers there, so the bar falls on there, and I sit, and then I kind of get out from underneath. My buddy's like, hey, man, you good? I'm like, yeah. So then I actually finished the workout, but then when I got home, I laid down, and I remember from that lay down, because like all the adrenaline stops, the blood flow stops, and I can't walk, I can't move. I'm in so much pain that I'm in tears, and for a whole week, I have to crawl. So I had to crawl to get food, crawl to go to the washroom, use assistance by pressing on the sink. Thankfully, it was really close to the toilet. If I had to go to the washroom, I'd have to press up, and I would just have like salt baths every day. And then I saw a specialist, and I didn't get an MRI, I didn't get an ultrasound. I just told about the pain, but I'm also pretty good with pain. I'm tough, and it's going into a very important football year to where I got to show the pros that I got the sauce. So I'm not missing any time, and I'm not looking into it any further. I just start, having a bunch of painkillers at the time and doing a bunch of things to help with the pain, eating naturally, all that kind of shit, turmeric, etc. But throughout my entire playing career, anytime I would do a certain move, I would think that I was throwing my back out. So I would do it, and then I would just play through it. I would practice through it. Because with football, it's a small window. When you're trying to go to the pros, you can't miss time. When you're in the pros, you can't really miss time because you got to keep your job. So I'm just playing through a bunch of different shit that stem from that squat thing. And same thing, working with Mike, doing the machine, we go over, and I probably broke my back in that area. And when I retired, there was bouts of like paralysis to where I wouldn't be able to walk. So like we would get out of the car. I remember actually me and the wife, we just saw Incredibles 2, and then my legs just stopped. Why? Long time sitting in the theater chair, all that kind of stuff. And my legs just won't move. And I'm scared as fuck because I'm like, they're not working. Am I going to be able to walk again? So then periodically from that time until today, there would be days that my back would just, and I would have to literally walk little tiny baby steps gradually when I had the energy in order to learn to walk again and, heal my back, fix the damage and all that. I had to do that shit from scratch, which sucked. I did a ton of crawling. In essence, I had to start back from being a baby and then spend the last 3 or 4 years repatterning the way that I do everything in order to make up for the damage that was done previously, as well as build, get strong, do all that kind of shit. So that was fun. So here comes in the asymmetries and form. I was a form junkie when I was coming up. And it was because I had all these asymmetries. It's actually quite an emotional thing. When I went to school in Virginia, I hated myself and my body because of these asymmetries, and I blamed that for my injuries and things like that. I even wrote an essay, and I won an award on it because of how in-depth I went with how my asymmetries affect me and how I don't like it. It was very in-depth, an emotional piece. And, like my right foot is like a size 16, probably 16 and a half. My left foot, I would wear a size 15 shoe. So throughout my pro career, I would have to buy 2 pairs of shoes and then swap the other one out and then play that way. And I found that because of that, I have a ton of different things, like really different length arms. My spine sits different because I have extreme leg length differences, and having different size feet is going to change the way that everything in your body aligns and moves. So then I found, like, I was the guy that for the Poliquin system, for McMaster when they were doing their kinesiology demonstration videos, for a lot of the trainers when I was with the Calgary Stampeders, they would look for like perfect form. They would choose me to show people how to do things and like film online workout programs and all that kind of stuff using my footage because I was so focused on form. So like I've been through that shit already, and for me personally, it didn't help me. Why? Because fitting me into a mold that's made for someone else, it just didn't work. I had to learn to move my body because of all the differences and all the anomalies that I have. And I didn't learn that until I got a freaking treasure trove of injuries, beep, 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 of damage to learn that I had to move the way that I needed to move. Form is fantastic. You naturally refine your form over time regardless of what you're doing. And once I stopped doing the systematic stuff that I learned, that I kept getting hurt even though I was doing it picture perfect, doing all the cues and everything that all the coaches were saying, which is like, this is the world's best coaches at the time, right? Like, You're in pro athletics, you have access to different things that a lot of people don't have. It's right at your fingertips, and you're meeting with these people every day in person. So then it's like, why wasn't it working? And for me, I'm anomalous, right? So then I dropped all that form stuff and started to learn how I move specifically through doing play, through intuitive movement, explorative things, finding like, okay, for this person, they say to have your shoulder like this, but what if I need this? And then I discovered my own form through doing that. So it's like, yeah, I did all that stuff. I've been in perfect form before and whatever. And I kept getting hurt because it doesn't take into account my own natural and circumstantial factors that go in. My height, my weight, what I do, what I've done before. One size fits all things don't work for some people, and I was one of them. And I just kept, like I said, racking up the injuries just because it wasn't for me. Why? I'm trying to put my feet perfect in a certain position, have them perfectly even to my hips and all that, but with my feet being different, one foot and one leg is always going to perform different from the other. So through experimentation and explorative practice, like I said, I figured I have to have my feet in a different way than other people. And I would get yelled at by these same coaches that used to be like, hey, you were perfect. And I'm like, every time I do that shit, my back gets jacked up or my left shoulder feels whatever. And then I started to be like, bench press isn't the best for me. I got to do dumbbells because my arms have to sit differently. And then when I'm playing, that's going to happen because that's my body. It's going to move how it needs to move, especially when, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle. So then I started to train for that. And, I didn't make a lot of friends during this time period, but I had to do and have to do what's best for me because no matter what, I'm not going to fit into those molds. Some people do better. Form and systems are fantastic to give people a fundamental set of skills in order to take and explore. It still happens naturally. When you're a kid, every culture has its own system. Some people you're going to grow up and you're going to do martial arts. Other people you're going to grow up and like soccer is the thing. Other people you grow up in the US and like football is their, movement religion. So then you're going to naturally have systems that kind of cater to those things and foundations that lead to those things and build those habits. I get it, but I need it different. And then I realized, okay, well, if there's me, then there might be other people that are different too. So then that's why I formulated equilibrium. Because then it's, well, okay, based on what I've learned with all the different things and my foundational skill set, I have to find a way to create and refine my own form that takes into account my own needs. And then once I started doing that, I stopped getting hurt in the way that is like unnecessary. Life is always going to bring a degree of danger and a degree of pain and all those kind of things. And there's scales to pain. That's a different video all in itself. But I stopped getting those unnecessary injuries that were created by me trying to fit in forms and things that were not designed for me. And it happens to a lot of people. They'll go into a certain thing. Maybe they want to be an artist. And they start doing the techniques, go to art school, and then they find that they feel better maybe doing freelance stuff. Maybe they want to do more tattoo work and less specific shading and specific this and like, this is art and this is how it has to look. And then we're like, kind of want to do my own thing. And there's avenues for people in doing that in other aspects of society and culture. It just seems less so in movement, which is kind of fucking weird. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll talk about that a little bit. There's a specific example that I was thinking of earlier when I was going into filming this video, so I'm just kind of thinking to recall what that was, because it was a good one. Oh well, I forget it. So anyways,